emphasis. A careful reading of the approved judgments of the Crown Court of Southwark, England, and the District Courts of Columbia shows that the entire case is about legal infractions of employees and agents of Airbus and nothing more. According to the approved judgments, 1, Airbus on their own accord, engaged intermediaries, or better still, hired agents to help them sell military aircrafts to Ghana between the years 2009 to 2015. Number 2, while the use of agents or business partners is common practice with multinational companies, the approved judgments held that Airbus failed to follow OECD rules in appointing their business intermediaries. Number 3, the approved judgments further found that payment by Airbus of success-based commission to their intermediaries was in excess of the agreed 5% commission as captured in the transaction agreement. And then number 4, whereas there have been claims that success-based commissions were paid to agents of Airbus with the intent to induce or reward improper favor by the said government official 1 in the report, it is instructive to note that there is no indication, I repeat, there is no indication, either in the approved judgment of the Crown Court of Southwark or the approved judgment of the District Court of Columbia, that any such inducement took place. And let me repeat this point again for emphasis. We have taken our time to carefully study both approved judgments, one coming from the Crown Court of Southwark, England, and the other coming from the District Court of Columbia. And in summary, both approved judgments have to do with legal infractions by employees and agents of Airbus and nothing more. And we've given you that summary, of the said infractions. The first is that Airbus, as a private company, on their own accord, engaged intermediaries to help them sell military aircrafts to Ghana between the years 2009 to 2015. That has got nothing to do with the government of Ghana. Secondly, while the use of agents and business partners is common practice with multinational companies, the approved judgments held that Airbus failed to follow OECD rules in the appointment of their intermediaries. That, again, has got nothing to do with the government of Ghana. Number 3, the approved judgments further found that payment by Airbus of success-based commission to their agents exceeded the agreed 5% commission, which was captured in the transaction agreement. That, again, has got nothing to do with the government of Ghana. Then, finally, whereas there have been claims that success-based commissions were paid by Airbus to their agents with the intent of inducing or rewarding improper favor from the said government official 1, it is instructive to note that there is no such indication, or there is no indication in any of the approved judgments on the matter that any such inducement took place. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear about certain basic facts. First, no ex-government official of Ghana is cited in any part of the approved judgments for receiving a bribe or demanding a bribe or committing any criminal offense. No ex-government official of Ghana is cited for either demanding or receiving a bribe or for committing any criminal offense. In fact, not even the unnamed so-called government official one is cited in the report or approved judgments for demanding or receiving a bribe or for committing any offense. This point becomes even clearer when juxtaposed with the facts narrated in the approved judgment of the Crown Court of Southwark with regard to countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, and Taiwan, where the UK SFO made findings on how bribes were actually disbursed to senior executives of airline companies. Maybe I should explain this. What we mean here is that if you take the same approved judgments, which deals with Airbus's activities, not only in Ghana, but in other countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Taiwan, and so on, it was found by the UK Serious Fraud Office that in the case of Taiwan, Indonesia, and Malaysia, bribes were actually paid to senior executives of airline companies who dealt with Airbus. And all those findings were indicated in the UK SFO reports and the approved judgments. But in the case of Ghana, no such indication is given in either the UK SFO report or the approved judgments. We can state with a large degree of certainty that the UK SFO, the said government official one, if they had found so in their investigations. Instead, they carefully chose the words, quote, intended to induce, unquote, without more. And there is no indication that this intention was actualized. Therefore, to the extent that the said government official one is not cited for any offense in any of the approved judgments, his or her identity is completely immaterial. And let me repeat this. To the extent that the said government official one is not cited for any offense in any of the approved judgments, his or her identity is completely immaterial. Second, there is no finding in any of the approved judgments that Ghana lost any money through the said transactions. No such finding is contained in any of the approved judgments. The fact is, the government of Ghana paid fair commercial value for the aircraft and was not in any way shortchanged. Indeed, the Ghana Air Force conducted its own independent technical and financial evaluation of the transactions in line with best practices in the military. Third, there is no finding in any of the approved judgments that the transactions and the processes leading to same violated any law. In fact, the first transaction under which Success-Based Commission was paid by Airbus to their intermediaries adhered to the public procurement law and received the legal opinion of the then Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honorable Martin A.B.K. Amidu, before it was finally approved by the August House of Parliament. And we encourage you to get the Parliamentary Hansard of that day, study it for yourself, and you will see that all these material facts were captured in the proceedings of Parliament leading to the approval of the transaction. It went through all the necessary procurement processes. The Central Tender Review Board of the Public Procurement Authority approved it. The Air Force conducted their own financial and technical evaluation. They did due diligence, submitted all those reports to the parliamentary subcommittee which considered the transaction. Same were presented to the plenary after, members of parliament debated the issue extensively. The transactions were approved by parliament. And so no law was violated, and Ghana did not lose any money as a result of these transactions. Additionally, there is no finding in any of the approved judgments that the government of Ghana or any government official engaged the services or paid any monies to any intermediary relative to the said transactions. Therefore, any infractions from the engagement and payment of intermediaries by Airbus SA are entirely its business. Distinguished friends from the media, it is clear from the foregoing that the whole Airbus case, like I've already indicated, is about legal infractions by employees and agents of Airbus SE and nothing more. Foreign companies who do business with Ghana have their own internal modus operandi. The nature of the infractions committed by Airbus SE, as contained in the approved judgments, are such that the government of Ghana at the time had no way of knowing of those infractions. So, ladies and gentlemen, the indecent haste with which Yabuabia Samoa of the MPP jumped to pass judgment on the NDC relative to this matter was pathetic and most reckless, to say the least. No serious-minded person would draw conclusions based on conjecture and willful misinterpretation of the approved judgment of the UK Crown Court and the District Court of Columbia. And so we treat with contempt his statements and those of other MPP Highlands who may have thought wrongly that this was an opportunity for political equalization. Yabuabia Samoa is a lawyer by profession, and he knows, per the training lawyers receive, that it is reckless and irresponsible for you to cast aspersions on the character of innocent people based on conjecture and speculations. No one was mentioned in that report to have engaged in any criminal offense, not even the unnamed so-called government official one. And so to engage in the Nanabo, conspiracy theory he engaged in a couple of days ago is most shameful, coming from a lawyer. Ladies and gentlemen, the Airbus matter is nothing like the recent conclusively established corruption cases, such as the doling out of a whopping 136 million Ghana cedis, as equivalent to $24 million, for the private hotel project of the in-law of President Akufo-Addo, Dr. Nyantechi, the missing excavator scandals, the missing 400 tricycle scandals, just to mention a few. This Airbus matter is empty. It is a clear case of much ado about nothing, and it is nothing compared or nothing like recent conclusively established cases of corruption that I have outlined. The MPP should be reminded, ladies and gentlemen of the press, that multiple ambassadors from Western nations have in recent times publicly decried the alarming spate of corruption under President Akufo-Addo. Strangely, President Akufo-Addo only a few weeks ago shamelessly warned ambassadors and foreign envoys in Ghana not to speak publicly about the alarming highs of corruption in his government. Whether it was the Mary Miscellaneous scandal in which President Akufo-Addo gave executive approval to a deal which had been bloated by an amount of $800 million, or the Boss scandal, where 5 million liters of contaminated fuel were illegally sold to unlicensed businesses and the proceeds misappropriated, or the PPA contracts for sales scandal, or the number 12 expose by ACE investigative journalist Anas Arimi Anas, or the Australian visa fraud scandal, or the PDS scandal, through which Ghana lost a whopping $190 million. President Akufo-Addo has proven to be the biggest enabler and promoter of corruption in the history of Ghana. This fact is buttressed by the latest Corruption Perception Index of Transparency International, in which Ghana dropped 2 places, and the recent Afrobarometer findings by CDD Ghana that 53% of Ghanaians think that corruption has worsened under the watch of President Akufo-Addo. In all this, ladies and gentlemen, it is important to remind the NPP that per the latest CPI of Transparency International, which, by the way, is the most reputable and internationally recognized corruption index in the world, President Akufo-Addo's best score of 41 in the CPI is still worse than John Dramani Maham's worst score of 43 recorded in the year 2016 before the NDC exited office. And so here we know that Ghana's best ever score under the CPI was recorded in the year 2014 under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who they are castigating. That was a score of 48. His worst score under the CPI, which was recorded in 2016, was a score of 43. That was John Mahama's worst. But ladies and gentlemen, that worst score of 43 is still better, in fact, far better than President Akufo-Addo, the man who is touted as incorruptible. President Akufo-Addo's best ever score under the CPI of 41, recorded in 2018 and 2019. And so the NPP should stop wasting our ears on this Airbus matter. Like I said, it is empty. It doesn't involve any Ghana government official. It is a case of much ado about nothing. The allegations of wrongdoing the NPP has been peddling against officials, of governments belonging to the NDC are only based on innuendo speculations and baseless conjecture. Ghana is a serious country. We have serious issues to deal with. And I think we must tell the NPP that enough is enough. Stop trying to equalize. Stop trying to divert attention from critical issues of corruption, which President Akufo-Addo is supervising, and which involves President Akufo-Addo, himself. So, having dealt with the Airbus matter, ladies and gentlemen, now let's look at the organized thievery and acts of corruption perpetrated by the Akufo-Addo government on the people of Ghana under the guise of fighting Galamsey. Friends from the media, in the past couple of days, the public discourse in our country has been dominated by a rather unimaginable tale of over 500 excavators seized from illegal mining sites, which have suddenly disappeared into thin air. As scandalous as we have thought the story of the missing 500 excavators was, the chilling and sordid revelations that have come to light since that scandal broke out go to confirm the massive rot that has characterized President Akufo-Addo's so-called fight against Galamsey in the last 3 years. You would recall that at the 4th edition of our Moment of Truth series, we decried how the fight against Galamsey was being undermined by top NPP and government officials, and called for the complete overhaul of the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining and other bodies, in the fight. Sadly, it has taken the recent case of the missing 500 excavators to awaken the nation to the reality of the concerns we raised back then. This week, we have been told of the arrest of a known kingpin embedded in the anti-Galamsey machinery of state, whose nefarious activities have long spelled doom for the fight against Galamsey. We are talking here about the vice chairman of the NPP in the central region, Mr. Horace Eko Ewisi, and 5 other companies who have taken advantage of the state's fight against Galamsey to expropriate seized equipment including the 500 excavators, ounces of gold, thousands of weapons, and other possessions of illegal miners. Friends from the media, further evidence has now emerged that Mr. Horace Ekwuawusi, whom we have long called out as a known Galamsey kingpin, did not operate in a vacuum. In a video recording released on social media this week, the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, Professor Frimpong Boateng, who doubles as the chairman of the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, is heard facilitating and promoting the Galamsey business of top MPP officials, such as the General Secretary of the MPP, Mr. John Boadu, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP, Bernard Ntwibu Esiako, a.k.a. Chairman Wuntubi, several others, ostensibly to generate money for the New Patriotic Party. This is how low this country has sunk as a result of the greed and selfishness of the ruling MPP and the corrupt Akufo-Addo government. But friends from the media, these jaw-breaking revelations, which are a testament of how corruption has assumed epidemic proportions under President Akufo-Addo, do not come to us as a surprise at all. We in the NDC have always known that beyond his usual flowery rhetoric, President Akufo-Addo has never been committed to the fight against illegal mining and corruption, for that matter. In fact, these later developments are a vindication of our long-held position that President Akufo-Addo's so-called fight against illegal mining is a ruse calculated to appropriate the illicit Galamsey trade for MPP and government officials. And let me repeat this. I am saying that the latest scandal of the 500 missing excavators is only a vindication of our long-held position that President Akufo-Addo's so-called fight against Galamsey is a ruse calculated to expropriate the illicit Galamsey trade for MPP and government officials. There was no fight from the onset. It was all a sham. It was all 419. It was all a ploy by the MPP and top government officials to take over the Galamsey business. And that is exactly what has happened. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us be clear on certain things. This Galamsey scandal is a result of a grand scheme set up by President Akufo-Addo himself to enrich MPP officials to finance the New Patriotic Party. This is the reason he populated the Inter-Ministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining and Anti-Galamsey committees with top MPP officials such as Ekwuawusi, Charles Bissiu, among others. It is now crystal clear that after spending millions of taxpayers' money on the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, Galamstop, Operation Vanguard, and other activities, and after killing and maiming several innocent young Ghanaians, certain top officials of the Akufo-Addo government have teamed up with officials of the New Patriotic Party to callously take over the illicit Galamsey trade despite its deleterious effects on the environment and human lives. Not even the hardcore evidence seen in the Galamsey fraud documentary, a painstaking investigation by ACE investigative journalist Anas Arimiyahu Anas, in which a presidential staffer, Charles Bissiu, was indicted. Let me take this paragraph again, it's very important. Not even the hardcore evidence seen in the Galamsey fraud documentary, a painstaking investigation by ACE investigative journalist Anas Arimiyahu Anas, in which a presidential staffer, Charles Bissiou, was indicted, was enough to move President Akufo-Addo into swift action in order to salvage the wobbly fight against Galamsey. Apart from the Galamsey kingpin, Charles Bissiou, several actors within the Akufo-Addo government have in one way or the other compromised the fight against Galamsey, whilst President Akufo-Addo looks on unconcerned. It will be recalled that sometime in 2018, the Minister of Local Government, Honorable Hejia Alima, stated publicly that some MMDCs of this government were actively engaged in Galamsey and indicated that she was going to publicly disclose their identities and sanction them. The NDC didn't say this. Some agency didn't say this. This was put out by the Minister for Local Government, Honorable Hejia Alima Mahama herself, that MMDCs of the Akufo-Addo government were engaged in Galamsey. She promised that she was going to name and shame and ensure that those MMDCs are brought to book. However, till date, we still don't know the identities of the said MMDCs the minister talked about and what President Akufo-Addo has done about that. Again, the former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Peter Amewu, also made a startling observation that members of Operation Vanguard had been compromised by illegal miners. Additionally, the Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Mr. Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, sometime last year, stated that certain higher-ups in this government were undermining the Galamsey fight and were actually aiding the return of illegal miners to our forest. All these pieces of evidence, ladies and gentlemen, pointed to the fact that the fight against illegal mining was heading in the wrong direction. Yet, President Akufo-Addo refused to bring the culprits to book, to serve as a deterrent to others. This is why we are where we are today. By failing to punish the likes of Charles Bissiou, the members of the Operation Vanguard team who were reported by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources at the time as having been compromised by illegal miners, President Akufo-Addo emboldened more officials of the NPP and government to engage in Galamsey with brazen impunity. And the results of that is what we are seeing. Now the questions, ladies and gentlemen, we must ask ourselves are, what happens to the millions of taxpayers' money that has been wasted on this so-called fight against Galamsey in the last 3 years? Because we've been making budgetary allocation for Operation Vanguard, for the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, for Galamstop, and all these bodies. We've wasted millions of taxpayers' money on this so-called fight. It is very clear that the fight has failed because of the greed and selfishness of President Akufo-Addo and his cabal of family and friends. Now, what happens to the taxpayers' money which has been wasted? What can appease the blood of innocent Ghanaians who have lost their lives through this fraudulent fight against Galamsey, including Major Maxwell Mahama? May his soul rest in perfect peace. Again, how about legal small-scale miners whose excavators have been burned and livelihoods destroyed? What happens to them? Because President Akufo-Addo, when he assumed office, supposedly bought into the media, a campaign by a group of media men at the time against Galamsey, promised us that he was going to wage a brutal war against the menace. And because we all know the deleterious effect that Galamsey has for our water bodies, for water security and human lives, we all supported him. The media supported him. The chieftaincy institution supported him. Even the opposition supported him, at least to get this one thing done right. And through this fight, We allocated millions to the committee, like I've already indicated, Operation Vanguard and all that. And Operation Vanguard, Galamstop, and all these bodies went into, the Galamsey sites of illegal miners to clamp down on the activities, to protect the environment and all that. In the process, people were shot and killed. People died. Major Mahama died as a result of this. Excavators were burned. And some of the excavators which were burned belonged to not Galamseyers, but small-scale miners who were engaged in illegal enterprise. They had their license to engage in that. And yet, their livelihoods were destroyed. And some have never recovered and may never be able to recover until the day or until the end of this world. And so this is a monumental betrayal of the trust of Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. For our government, our president and his people, a president who told us that he has placed his presidency on the line and wouldn't mind losing the next election as a result of this Galamsey fight. We had faith in him. Our chiefs had faith in him. The media had faith in him. Only to be defrauded. Only for he and his people to turn around and engage in Galamsey with impunity, destroy our water bodies. Look at the River Brim. Look at the River Pra. Look at the River Ofensu today. Look at the color of these river bodies. They are as brown as chocolate. The turbidity levels have worsened. And we are not talking about ordinary Ghanaians engaging in these manners. No, we are talking about MPP top officials engaging in Galamsey with this impunity. Not with Ghanaians, but with Chinese. I'm sure you have seen a video documentary by Joy News in which the driver of John Boadu was caught somewhere in the Ankwaso Forest Reserve, destroying our forest cover, and doing Galamsey. When he was caught by the police, he tried to bribe them with an amount of 40,000 Ghana cedis. Thank God we still have men of conscience in the Ghana Police Service who apprehended him and blew the lid. And clearly, that driver, that poor driver, cannot be the owner of that concession. That concession belongs to Mr. John Boadu. And we know of several of such concessions which belong to people like Wuntumi and several other top officials of the MPP. Their own people like Kennedy Akompre Japan has said so. When we talk about these things, it is seen as, coming from the opposition, so it is politics as usual. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer about politics as usual. This is about our water bodies. This is about water security. In fact, there are reports that Ghana Water Company has started rationing water in some of these areas already. And there are reports that if care is not taken, in the next 10 years, Ghana would have to import potable water for us to get water to drink. Who are those doing this sacrilegious harm to this country? President Akufo-Addo. Because of greed. All the monies you have stolen were not enough for you. Through the Boss scandal, the Mary scandal, the PDS scandal, and all these scandals were not enough. Now you are selling excavators. You are stealing tricycles. You are engaging Galamsey. What kind of greed is this? What kind of greed is this? And so we are very sad. We are deeply concerned about the damage that this government is wreaking on this country. If care is not taken, by the time they are kicked out by the good people of this country in the 2020 elections, there will be nothing left. Our water bodies would have been destroyed. And so we should all be concerned, whether you belong to the NDC, the CPP, the PNC, or even the MPP. You should be concerned, because this is about future generations. It is about the sustainability of this country. Certainly, ladies and gentlemen, President Akufo-Addo, who places his presidency on the line, must account for this fight, must account to Ghanaians by providing answers to these nagging questions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, any government with its name would have by now sacked or caused the arrest of the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, who has become both a player and an enabler of the illicit Galamsey trade. He is both a player and an enabler in Galamsey. It would be a complete waste of time for us to call for the dissolution of the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining and all anti-Galamsey task force such as Operation Vanguard, Galamstop, and so on. Because as for this, our president, President Akufo-Addo, he sees no evil and hears no evil when it comes to thievery and corruption by his officials. But all those involved in the stealing of the 500 excavators and the stinking rot that has engulfed Akufo-Addo's fraudulent fight against Galamsey must know that the day of accountability and reckoning is fast approaching. God will never forgive them, and the good people of this country will never forgive them. It doesn't matter how long it takes, they will pay for their crimes under the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Thank you very much for coming. Sure. Let me see how many minutes I've been speaking.
Please, let's kindly stay put and have the tree version before the question time.
So I will do a very quick summary of... Do you have questions? I will do a very quick, just 5 minutes each of today's press conference. Abusuafo a yɛahyia mu ha. Ɛnɛ yɛto yɛn nsa frɛ mu a ɛnyɛ bɔne. Nsɛm mmienu nti na yɛahyia wɔ ha. Deɛ di kan ɛyɛ Airbus asɛm a bɛyɛ sɛ ɛnna kakra ni aba abɛdane asɛm ɛwɔ Ghana ha. Deɛ ɛsɔ so mmienu ɛyɛ asɛm a aba abɛtɔ abɔnten sɛ excavators mako 500 a aban wei ɛka sɛ wɔkɔ etia Galamsey ɔmo kyekye CZ yɛ ɛde kogu various yas ɛwɔ Takoradi ɔboase ne nkran no abɛdɔ abɔnten sɛ excavators ni mu 500 ayera tin sɛ mienu wei nti ne yɛto yɛn sa frɛ mo na mensɛ ho kora no mɛstart afi Airbus asɛm a ɛda pono so no abusuafo Airbus asɛm ni nyinaa ne sɛn asɛm ni nyinaa ɛfa Airbus adwumayɛfoɔ ɛne ɔmo agents a wɔn adwumayɛm ɔmo etiatia UK mmara so mmara bi a yɛfrɛ no OECD rules and the UK Bribery Act of 2010 asɛm ni nyinaa no ɛmfa Ghana ban ho ɛmfa Ghana panyimu bia ho as a party agye mmerɛ akenkan court judgment from UK and US ɛwɔ saa asɛm wei ho na okan judgments ni nyinaa wobɛhu sɛ ne tɔfa bom no deɛ akɔfa Airbus asɛm ya bɛ nyinaa ne sɛ between the year 2009 and 2015 Airbus for ɛfa agents ɔmo ankasa ne firi ɔmo pem fa ɔmo agent sɛ ɔmo mwa ɔmo na ɔmo ntimi mɛtɔn aeroplanes bi ɛma Ghana ye military to ɔmo anekɔfa ɔmo agents na Ghana nka ho because they are a private company ɔmo de ɔmo ho de toso mienu no ɔmo fa saa ɔmo agents na mmra ɛwɔ sɛ nka ɔmo di so no ɔmo ani so mmra kyɛ sɛ wɔ sɛ obi wɔ qualification bi anaasɛ agent a wo fa na ni sɛ ɔne obi wɔ ayɔnkofa bi ɔmo ani saa mmra ne so ebiem agreement a ɔmo ne Ghana ban sensan yɛ no ɔmo amfa nsie yɛ kan wo mu sɛ agents a ɔmo di company n'anim no yewie bibia na Airbus for sanka ɔmo sika ɔmo bɛma ɔmo commission your friend success based commission 5%. San hyehyɛ ne te sɛ Ghana ha wo pɛ sɛ wo han dan ɛwɔ East Legon na wo pɛ ntem no wakɔfa agents ɛboa me na mempɛ dan ɔboa wo ma wonya wo se o metua commission ana me wɔ japade bi a mepɛ sɛ metɔn ne ntemti no mepe agent ama na boa me agent to tɔn ma me a wo commission yɛ sei saa na Airbus asɛmitie but judgment ne kyerɛ sɛ ɔmo tua ɔmo agents ka no ɔmo tua agent no kama ne bro so instead so ɔmo betua agent ne ka bɛyɛ 3.85 million euros no ɔmo tua instead so ɔmo betua agent ne ka bɛyɛ 3 million euros no ɔmo tua agent ne ka 3.8 million euros ne kyerɛ sɛ bɛyɛ 800,000 euros bi abro so we yɛ ɔmo ankasa nhyehyɛ yɛ a ɔmo ayɛ den ɔmo abu so ɛmfa Ghana aban panyin bi aho ti sɛ wɔhwɛ asɛm ne mu yi a de di kan Ghana by penny mu bi ani wa ya boni din e wo UK SFO reports. And now say court judgments e wa asem we hu say obisa bribe and now waje bribe and now wa form mre bia Ghana ni bia ni wa ni din wom. So called government official one MPP for aboni din omo yes na nabo yes speculations the conjecture no. Onumpo yankase waje bribe and now wabisa bribe and now waye boni bi. Ti ebusuafo se ne yekoye nhwemu ni wie na beto abonten se government official one ko yes amegemfi na chief bania emfaso bi ani so because on tomra onye boni bia ene na ya de edi kan a e wo se ye hye ne so. De etoso mienu so ne se wo hwe judgment ni nyina mu a hu se Ghana anhwere sika bia eni ba bia se wo se ade anka ye to no empim du no obi di bibi to so ma ye to no empim adu no anasa ade a wo se anka ye to no taku no obi di bibi to so ma ye to no sempoa. In fact okay nkan ni nyina judgment ni nkan ni ba bia se Ghana boka. But so they compare judgment no in relation to other countries because ebas for omu di juma wo Malaysia, Indonesia and Taiwan. Na wo hwe court judgment no wo omuju fa omuju medi omudi ni sa mama ne so a. Unlike Ghana na ho de yesi omu tuatua adamude ema airline companies bi adwumayefo. But in the Ghana case ni de yankasa omatua bribe bia. In Ghana ye case no yankasa Ghana boka bia. Because abusuafo no kwasem ne say sa Airbus transaction here Ghana buying at that time at the top military aircrafts at the ma yasrafo say na be yo mko peacekeeping omu benya bi akọ accident si wo srem na emergency wo se ekophobia ye benya jet amana akọ ne de keka ho no e follow public procurement law e call Central Tender Review Board procurement for your due diligence your internal value for money e approve bibia ansa na e call parliament Samre no MPP member of parliament for Krupon Honorable William Boama onukra na second motion no ma parliament for so bobo hwa ansakra na eba be ko parliament na busuafo Samre no aban lawyer panyin attorney general and minister for justice Honorable Martin Amidu we check parliamentary hands down no na ye krata e ma legal opinion ansa na ye the transaction e ko mrahye bedwam ye de call ye so no mrahye bedwafo agitum Inti kana na frakadan bi anya den amam Ghana moka Ghana lusuka pre. Ti no so na ya de etoso mienu. De etoso miensa no so ne se eni nkrata ni mu ba bia se Ghana ban panyimu bi ekofa agent adwuma ana ekutua agent bi ka. Eni mu ba bia sa. Enti abusuafo se e ba asasemi. Number 1, yen kan no wo mu ba bia se Ghana ni bia ye mu bone waje bribe na wa fomumra. Yen kan wo mu baabi asa Ghana aboka ene yen kan mu baabi asa Ghana ni bia fomumra na Ghana ban wo sa men wa fomumra de a na ne yesa eba asefo na ne omu agent akoye nhyehyeye ena wo sa sikatua ni mu afom UK mra e fa Ghana fo ho ben I was MPP for the same way na twapia ye dede with the objective of diverting attention from chrono bebreba e koso nansi e fa ye ho ben when I can for Becca say she ni kutire yem bibia nim because bibia ni we wasem we mu e kire say NDC aban panyi bi waye bone ti de ye kan say ensamwa MPP mpanyufo keka piti say ya aboabia samwa mo keka no omo kan wa omo ni nyina so bia nti yeso ye tie ni wa ni enim say Ghana for so ebetie ni wa because say no kura bi wo mu a nka ya aboabia samwa na be press conference me sure say ka by now police if watch say nipa kro ne dadaada ko me sa me gemfi a menye boni bi akra no wo hwe me matwe ya me di gina he ya yetimi suma police if won so mo be che me enti report aba na obi a wo ma ye boni anya ya aboabia samwa no ko be press conference ka sam de ya chi obi yanchi obi hwehwemu bi yanchi obi no should let you know say bibi anim e ya nansesem ne anadwo ma nasem eno so nya de a ye de bu oman. It's very irresponsible, very reckless for a ruling government to engage in such cheap politics with the objective of equalizing, you know. Enti dia tia no bibia anya dan enim obi anya eboni bia na nya de a ye be say madaje wo hunti de no ebesia na yakọ galanse asem a edaho, which for us is the most important issue.